Hi friends! So Baldurs Gate 3 goes through a lot of the Forgotten Realms deities and the whole pantheon, and they hit a lot of the greater gods, especially Shar, Saloon, and of course the Dead 3, but there are tons of other gods that are briefly mentioned, but they don't go into them very far. So I wanted to talk about one of my favorites that they brought up. But not only is this video going to talk about them, their clergy, their beliefs, their following, their abilities a little bit, we're also going to give you guys a free subclass so you can make a cleric for this deity and have it very specific to what kind of path that they run. And since today we're going over Sorcerer, the goddess of sexual awakening and partying hard, I created the Lust domain. We'll go over it in the video, but there also will be a link to a document in the description if you wanted to have it written down. Sorcerer is one of my favorites. She's very, very interesting, but she's not technically a full-on god. At least not in the sense that she's not a greater deity, and she's not a lower deity. She's what's called a demigod. Demigods could be like half offsprings of real full-on gods and normies. Demigods could also just be like really dope people that end up getting a following, and so many people started worshiping them that they end up getting godlike powers. Sorcerer actually started her life under a different name, Bass. Sorcerer herself is absolutely beautiful. Sometimes she has the head of a cat or some kind of feline animal like a tiger. When she speaks to you, it feels like a throaty purr, and it feels like you're being rubbed with soft velvet. It's a very like physical sensation when she's speaking to one of her clerics. She's very fickle, she's very flighty. She doesn't let anyone, even her top clerics, get really close to her. She tends to get up and move wherever she wants. She's kind of the embodiment of someone afraid of commitment, but then, you know, now is a god. She loves mortals, but she mostly just loves messing with mortals. She messes around with somebody, and as soon as it gets south or she gets bored, she just moves on to the next one, and, you know, mortals keep procreating, so she has plenty of new toys to play with. She's also known as the dancing lady. She has a quality of independence and hedonism that is associated with, you know, felines, and she expressly wants all of her followers to do the same. Be independent, bust a nut, bounce. So stupid. Her symbol is feminine lips painted on dark amber, usually worn on a medallion that's hung off the wrist or off an anklet. And the places of her worship are really easy to identify because there'll be a lot of cat totems. A lot of them keep actual cats. A lot of the places that worship her double as different industrial stuff like pleasure houses, festival halls, just places where people can really get down. Churches of Sorcerer are really casually organized. Everybody there works and plays together. A lot of rulers will hire the Church of Sorcerer to be in charge of their festival halls, or a lot of them will schedule and run all of the actual festivals of the town. These festivals will include like really fabulous feasts, massage parlors, heavenly baths, and just about anything that feels good. They'll try to cram it into any kind of festival. It could be like the festival of the oldest human lady of the city turning 90 and she wants a yarn theme party. They're gonna knit her a big old glory hole for her to really get in with. The pleasure houses that they run are known for being the freakiest, and by freaky I mean like rooms where people can fly. Maybe they employ spiders that cast webbing, so people are tied up and bound to the wall. Finding new ways to create these exciting events is a form of worship for them. Finding these and acting them out and finding out what they actually feel like is a way for them to please Sorcerer. Members of the clergy are known as Sharzans, and they can be of all and any and none genders, but they're all unnecessarily attractive. It's like weird attractive, I feel like walking into an Abercrombie, but also there's a cross. But the head people of their church are typically female, and they're known as sensates, which is really funny because they named this way before the horny Netflix show, but it kind of worked out a while ago, kind of in between when she changed her name from Bass to Sorcerer. She started experimenting with the darker forms of pleasure, kind of the not so fun, the that definitely need a safe word, forms of pleasure, and it led her down a really wrong path and into the hands of Shar, kind of where she got her name, Sharess. Turns out it wasn't something she wanted to do, and she was thankfully freed, and since then she's not liked Shar very much. She actively works against Shar and Leviatar in kind of tandem. Leviatar is kind of a lot like Sharess when you really think about it, just on a different side of a coin, like a real fucked up coin. There's even a group of werecats that follow Sharess and Saloon at the same time, and they're called the Knights of the Evening, and their whole deal is just to mess with Shar and like outright attack and hunt Shar followers. So every cleric has to pray to get their spells. Typically happens once a day, typically happens in the morning. But Sharazans are a little different as they pray for their spells at night before they go to bed. So right when the sun's beginning to set, at that dusk period before night comes, that's when they pray for their next day's spells, which I think is pretty interesting. The Church of Sharess has the most number of festivals ever. Like, if they could make every day a party, they would dump all of their budget into it. But Midsummer's Eve is the #1 top tier festival for them. This is when shit goes full on balls to the wall, nasty. Like, if you wake up on Midsummer and you don't know how you got to where you were, you didn't pray to Sharess hard enough. So the Lust Domain was created for Sharess in particular, but you could totally use it for different gods if it follows what your character would do. Lust Domain clerics' whole deal is really to awaken themselves spiritually and others spiritually by experiencing as much pleasure that life can offer them, and to just awaken every kind of fun idea that they have to make life as full as it could possibly be. First off, the domain spells. At level 1 you get Charm Person and Command. At level 2 you get Hold Person and Suggestion. At level 5 you get Antagonize and Fast Friends. At level 7 Compulsion and Confusion. And at level 9 Dominate Person and Modify Memory. When a cleric of this domain casts enchantment spells, it's more of an extension of their own inner sexuality being expressed into a magic form. Your verbal and somatic component for casting Command could be flirting with them. Modify Memory could be a kiss, that kind of stuff. You get bonus proficiencies at level 1. You have proficiencies using scimitars, and you are proficient in the persuasion skill. Also at level 1, you get a skill called Language of Sex. When you cast spells like Charms or Dominate on creatures that have an innate ability to be stronger against, like elves or anything with the Fey ancestry, the ability that gives them advantage does not work for you. You're able to sneak past that. You're also able to charm, flirt, or anything like that with creatures that do not share the same language as you. Level 1 also unlocks something called a Lust-Filled Strike, and this comes from an ability called Love to Play Rough. When you make a melee attack against somebody, you're able to use your bonus action to do additional 1d8 of wisdom damage. After they take that attack, they have to make a wisdom save against your spell save DC or be charmed. If they fail that save, they have no memory of you hitting them, they have no memory of making the save, but if they succeed, they are not charmed, and they know that you cast a spell on them. You have as many Lust-Filled Strikes as you have proficiency bonuses. Now, as for the Channel Divinity for the Lust Domain, you get something called the Throes of Ecstasy. You get to pick a humanoid creature 30 feet away from you. They have to make a Constitution saving throw. If they fail it, they are immediately thrown into a euphoric sense that's so powerful it leaves them incapacitated. While they're in this state, they automatically fail any wisdom save that they have to make against your spells. All attacks on them do have advantage. They are able to save out of it at the end of their turn, but if they spend at least one turn in ecstasy, they will come out of it with a point of exhaustion. This will last a whole minute if they keep failing their con save. It's a pretty good nuke. I mean, this is pretty strong. Constitution is pretty easy to save out though, so it's really doubtful that someone's going to be kind of stun locked here for longer than a few rounds. But if you're able to get this on somebody and then if you're high enough level, cast Dominate Person, it took a couple of your pretty high resources, but they're basically, it's set that they are yours. At level 6, we get a skill called Love and Hate's Fine Line. I've been so adapted to be able to use enchantment magic with just your being that once you get hit with a melee attack, you can use your reaction to cast an enchantment type spell as long as you have it prepared. The spell has to be single target. When you cast it this way, the creature will have to make their save with disadvantage regardless of the rules of the spell. Like Charm Person says that if you cast it on them during combat, they have advantage of the save. That is negated, you're going to have disadvantage. You can only do this once a long rest. At level 8, we get our classic Cleric Divine Strike, except for we can do 1d8 of psychic damage additional once per turn, and it also levels our Lustfilled Strikes up to 2d8s. At level 14, our Lustful Strikes are actually increased to 3d8s when this is increased to 2d8s. That makes sense. Divine Strikes are always a d8 additional damage once a turn, then they double at level 14. When that happens, you get an additional d8 die to add to your Lustfilled Strikes. At level 17, with Mate for Life, when you charm someone using a Lustfilled Strike, they are now marked as your mate as well as marked for death. At the top of every turn that they spend charmed by you in this position, they will take 3d8 additional psychic damage. Hey guys, I hope you liked my video. I really appreciate you guys watching this stuff. I love making subclasses, and I really love the lesser pantheon. I think there's a lot of weird gods of weird stuff that'd be really cool that if they had their own specific cleric powers. The next one we're doing is Leviatar. I already have the whole class written up. I just want to send it to a few people to see what they think. But please drop a comment below if you know any weird gods that you think would make really cool specific clerics. Also, my new active shorts are live. I love them to death. I wear them all the time. Everything on the Roll for Booty store is free shipping to anyone on the planet, by the way, except for North Korea. Sorry. As well as everybody will get additional 10% off if you use the code 10shorts. Hi, Editing Billy here. In the video, I froze and forgot the name of the promo code and said 10 shorts. It's actually Booty, obviously. So the promo code is Booty, but I'll make one for 10 shorts. They'll do the exact same thing anyway, just in case you happen to skip ahead before this little shout out. Anyway, bye. I really like the prints. I think they look even better in real life, and the double protective layer underneath is really comfortable. Also, we just started our new live play. We're testing the Obajima Tales of Long Grass beta material, and it's coming out really well. It's my first time DMing on camera-ish, and I'm breaking it in. The rest of the show is going to be super great and amazing. I poured so much into it. I really hope you guys watch it, and I hope you like it. I also want to thank all my sponsors, but especially those guys right there. Anybody in the Venture tier or higher will be getting into the ending credits of every video, and they also get put into a raffle that pulls every Sunday. Jake Geller already won a pair of shorts. Aaron already wore a pair of shorts. I'm giving another pair of shorts out next Sunday. If you want to join the raffle, all you do is press the join button below or hit the link in the description. But till then, bye. Love you.